talked about outcomes. We've talked about a lot of things related to your work in the POCOT. How do you use, or what type of OD principles, org development principles, apply to your work?
Yeah. So there's a lot of them, but I want to highlight 5. So let me just tell you at a high level what the 5 are, and then we can go into a little more detail. The first one is that everything we do has a purpose and outcomes, and it is always co-created with somebody from the POCA, somebody internally. The second is using the maximum mix of the audience, include them in our change program, like, include all genders, all ages, all different backgrounds, all different locations, that they are part of the change. The third is that we are always focused on engagement and participation, not just speaking to them, but really have them engage. The fourth is that we use resistance based on the Gestalt theory of resistance, that resistance is healthy. We use that as a tool in the process. And then finally, we are always grounding them in the current realities and facts that are part of the larger system perspective, so that they can see outside of and understand outside of just the POCOT tribe.
All right, so do you want to say more about each one of those?
Yeah. So the first one about co-creating the purpose and the outcomes. We have all of the people that do training, they actually are from the POCOT, they grew up there, or they currently live there. And sometimes we will actually be, we might have a team going over to deliver some training. We will make sure that we spend time with the appropriate audiences to get their input, to change. I've had complete trainings planned that have been thrown out and completely changed based on really including them in driving what we're doing. And it's really important, especially in another culture, that they're always driving that purpose and outcome. So that's the first one. The second one, which actually we've seen the most, I guess, difference with, is, when I first went to Africa and I told people I'm going to empower women, I remember one boy raising his hand, "Why are you only working with women?" And it really got me thinking, we need the men. We need all these different audiences. So we include men, we include boys, we are including government officials, key leaders, tribal leaders, and we are creating committees of people that make up different backgrounds, different ages, so that when they're learning about all these things that are changed, they can become part of the change and they can impact those audiences. The fourth one that I mentioned before, which I'm really passionate about, it is using resistance. We often, when we work with clients in business all the time, it's like, how do we overcome resistance? How do we squash it? How do we avoid it? We say, bring it on. We create a container, especially in these meetings that have highly sensitive cultural information in it. People are standing up and they are mad at learning that something they've been doing their whole life, that's like this valued ritual, that someone's telling them it's unlawful, it's bad, it's detrimental. And so especially in those meetings, we make sure that happens in the room, so that, and the facilitators are trained by the United Nations. They know how to handle bringing it up in the room, and they use that, the men and the women, if they're, talking to each other, we use that as part of the learning of, what is there to learn about this, so that they can then have the realization of what needs to change. And then finally, this using the current reality. They really are so far out from society. They don't have TVs, they don't have computers, they don't have cell phones. Basic information that we might have access to, they don't have access to. So we try to really give them as much information as we can about the realities that are impacting whatever we're teaching them about, at the country level, at the city level, at the government level. We go to schools to try to, talk with the teachers. So we're really looking at this multiple system level reality grounding information, and oftentimes the smallest, tiniest bit of information is completely life-changing to them. Like, they walk out saying, I had no idea. We have these little girls that wrote notes. We just did a big campaign at all the schools, in this one particular area. So we got about 3,000 girls, as well as teachers, and we were, training them, and they sent back to me all these little notes that these girls wrote and said, if I had only knew, I'm so embarrassed and ashamed that I did some of these things. I had no idea that
Wow.
they were so detrimental. These
Right.
just these little innocent notes just remind us that basic information, bringing them that information is power, information is transformation. So we always, anytime we do anything, we make it relevant information for
Wow.
them to learn.
All right. So there's clearly we have only scratched the surface of this really important work that you're doing in Africa. So where can people find out more about the POCOT and your mission?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So we have a website. It's really easy to remember, Women of POCOT, POKOT.com.
Great.
So that has updates on that. We also have a Facebook page, which is called Support Women of POCOT Kenya.
Great. And where can they find out more about you and your other work?
Yeah, so I have an integrated website that's also easy to remember, gentodd.com. It links to my business site, where I do, my executive coaching and organizational change work, and that is breakthroughpartner.com. All one word.
All right. So,
Partner.
Jen, it's been a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank
you
you
so much. And
thank you, Gina, for letting me
thanks
talk
for
about
listening.
my passion.
Thanks, everybody, for participating in this.